Yuki and John, Patreon Bay.
I can go anyone, any three. I mean,
All right, let's start with revenge.
revenge. Okay, revenge. Yeah.
All right, Yuki Nakamura. Spooky Yuki Nakamura.
John Wayne. Yeah.
So, you know the old Klingon proverb, revenge is a dish best served cold?
No.
That's from Star Trek. Remember the Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan?
Oh, okay, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Well, revenge is a dish best served cold. And you know what that means, right?
Yeah, but I mean, personally, I never did the revenge to anybody.
Okay, today's topic is revenge. In general, we might talk about some movies that feature revenge. We'll talk about the concept of revenge. I have an experience of revenge that may surprise you. And so let's talk about first, how you claim that you've never tried to get revenge on somebody that wronged you ever in your entire life, not even for a small thing.
Like, that someone did something to me, then, I reacted. So, like, start fighting or hit back at the moment. But the revenge in my mind is usually you plan, takes time, and get it back to them later.
Yes.
Right?
You lay in wait. Like if somebody fucks with you in the moment, you wait for your time to strike back so that they're taken off guard.
See, so that's, I don't have experience. So my reaction is always at the spot. Maybe I have a short temper. I mean, I just don't have a patience to make a plan, wait. And then sometime the guy forget about what he did to me, then get back. I just can't do it. I mean, I don't have patience to do that. So my reaction is always at the spot. Something did to me, I hit back at the spot. So it's a little different from the revenge.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense because it's more of a stoic thing that you have going on there. You let things slide and you're more about self-improvement and not harming others after they harm you. You're more about like that person doesn't matter. It's better to just leave them alone, let them live their lives and go away and block them out. And that's actually a form of revenge, is to not have Yuki Nakamura in your life anymore. That's horrible. You need Yuki in your life. So if Yuki blocks you out after you fuck with him, that's revenge enough.
Yeah, like a movie, like a Nevada Smith. The Steve McQueen, his parents got killed, and then he just go on the trip and then, train himself to be a gunman, and then towards the end, try to revenge and kill parents' killer, but he didn't towards the end. So maybe not to do it the best thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go into so.
No, why? Why not get into it? Because it's like that. You're right. Because sometimes revenge, it may feel good in the moment, and the journey towards revenge is what's making you feel right. And then you get your revenge, and it makes you feel even worse than if you didn't, because you've done something horrible.
Yeah, but my question is not to be religious, but why Bible says eye for an eye? See, that's like a revenge to me.
Well, that's the Old Testament, Yuki. That's the Old Testament God, Yahweh. He liked the eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. But New Testament was more about forgiveness and love thy neighbor. Well, no, actually, love thy neighbor was one of the commandments, so that's Old Testament. So it was more about Jesus was like turn the other cheek. If somebody hits you, you just turn the other cheeks, let it go. No revenge, no eye for eye. So one day this is going to be a big project. It's probably going to be 2-part episode for Old Testament, 2-part episode for New Testament, because there's a lot to unpack. And you just
so all the ones says eye for an eye. The new one says
Turn the other cheek. Yeah, forgive and forget.
Why 180 degrees turn? I mean, totally different and totally opposite.
That's a good question, and we're going to have to unpack that in the Old Testament versus New Testament series because, and we're going to wait for you to get back. I think that's something that'll be great for us to do in person, a 4-part Old Testament, New Testament series, because I could go through the Bible stories and we can unpack it. But why? Jesus, I think, is the reason why they claim, the Old Testament God was like a wrathful God who wanted you to fucking be get your vengeance and kill and warmongering and all that sort of stuff. But that's weird because also in the Moses thing, he put down the 10 Commandments, which tells you thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, even though she's hot as fuck and got big titties. Thou shalt not steal. So it's weird. And then Jesus comes along and he's like, don't do any of that shit. Just be, love is the answer, It's crazy. You're right. Where did that turn come from? Was it people who put that turn in? I think so. But anyway, that's a bigger concept for another day. Why did that turn happen?
We talk with another time with that subject then.
Oh yeah, that's going to be huge. But so revenge in and of itself, I think you've hit upon something interesting, is that sometimes revenge corrupts you worse than the person that hurt you in the first place.
Right. And then just the extra story is, original title was Revenge of the Jedi.
Yes.
Then they changed it to Return of Jedi, and George Lucas says, no, the Jedi, they don't revenge. So that's why he said the Return of Jedi, not the Revenge of Jedi.
That's right. It's not in a Jedi's nature to seek revenge.
Right.
But it's in a Jedi's nature to return and come back from the dead. You know what I read the other day? Is that Return of the Jedi, it doesn't refer to Luke Skywalker. It refers to Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, bad guy. Well, he does revenge. I mean, he turned to the dark side, so he doesn't mind.
No, but then he turns back to the light side when he throws the Emperor off the fucking bridge.
Oh, that's right. So he forgives himself.
He forgives. He gets rid of the menace that clouded his mind and made him evil, throws it away, and reaccepts his son into the light side of the Force. So he's the Jedi that's returning.
Then Revenge of Jedi was still okay then.
No, I kind of like I like Revenge of the Sith, because revenge is more of an evil sounding word. Even just the word in and of itself. Return is sort of soft. Revenge is just like a harsh word, and I like that he was able to keep those things like mirroring each other. It's like poetry, it rhymes. That's what George Lucas said.
Oh, by the way, it's collector's item. I have a Revenge of the Jedi poster.
I heard that there's a bunch still out there, that they actually printed a bunch of posters and a bunch of promotional material, and then he made his decision at the last minute to change it from Revenge to Return. That's cool. So you have like a theatrical poster?
Not the theatrical poster. It's like a nice, what's called lobby
card? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
like a big, and then it's not the poster. Postcard size. It's like this big.
Wow. That's cool. I'd love to see that. That's a collector's item for sure.
Yeah, maybe I should try to sell it.
You should try to sell a lot of your stuff, Yuki. It sounds like you have so much hidden treasures that you could be sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars of. I mean, that G.I. Joe alone that you mentioned.
I know you need to help me to sell G.I. Joe, yeah. and then or maybe you can sell that creature from the X-Files.
That's right. You gave me for my birthday a huge, awesome statue. It's right over here of the creature from the X-Files movie. It's awesome looking. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It scares me.
When you maybe like 20, 30 years from now, when you need the money, maybe you can sell it.
Or when I need to get revenge and sell stuff so I could get my revenge on somebody. Because, like, what's interesting is, like, revenge is so complicated. It's like you can get back at somebody really quickly. Like you said, if somebody hurts you or hits you or bothers you, if you retaliate immediately, that's not necessarily revenge. It's just reaction, right? If somebody comes at you, you react. But revenge, yeah, it's plotting and planning and waiting and
Right.
the perfect moment to destroy them. All that sort of stuff. Let me tell you a story quickly that I remembered about revenge when I was a kid. And this is funny. So there's a park in my town that I grew up in, Floral Park, New York, and it's the Floral Park Park. And they had all of these like tennis courts, basketball courts, playgrounds, baseball fields. There's a pool there. It's a beautiful place to hang out as a kid. And I used to go there and play basketball all the time during summer months. Every day, playing basketball, pickup games with older kids, younger kids. It didn't matter. We were just playing, shooting around. That's how we would spend our days during the daytime. And ride our bikes up there. And my brother used to go up there too, but he wouldn't really hang out with my group because he had his own group. And we were a little bit older. I was probably like 12 when this happened. So he was probably like 8, maybe 9-ish. Who knows? Or in that age range, like 3.5 years. So, one day, and he never really bothered me. I never really bothered him. It wasn't like we disliked each other. We just had our own thing going on. And one day he comes running up to me crying. And I'm like, Dan, what the fuck? And he's like, this older kid, he's like 16. He threw a basketball at my head and hit me in the face. And I was like, what? And he was like, hurt. You could see there was like a bruise on his face. I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, who is this kid? Take me to find him. And we couldn't find him that day. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get revenge because I'm not letting this go. Not some fucking cocksucker. And I was big for my age, so I knew I could at least like suss out if this kid was like a man or still pre-puberty or mid-puberty, if I could take him or not. So every day I would see my brother. I'd be like, where is he? You got to find him. If you see him, you got to tell me. I want to know. I want to fucking approach this kid. And finally, maybe like a week later, he's like, it was at night this time because sometimes we would go up at night when my father was playing in a recreational basketball team. And he was like, he's here. And I had a basketball with me and my brother. So he pointed him out and I saw him and I said, I could take this fucking kid. He's not that big. And he probably wasn't 16. Like my brother was a little kid. So anybody to him that was older was 16 years old. He was probably more close to my age, 13, 14, whatever. But he was older than me. I know that much. So I waited for him to be alone. Right. Because he was with his friends and stuff. And I was like, I was like watching him the whole time, plotting and waiting. I'm like, when he's alone, I'm going to go up to him. So, this part of the story is murky because I don't remember how it got to this point, but he was alone. And I remember I followed him out into like the parking lot with my brother. And I said, hey, you threw a basketball at this kid's head the other day. He's 8 years old. And the kid was like, who are you? Fuck you. Duh, duh, duh. So I took my basketball and I wound it up and he went, oh, and I threw it right past his head on purpose. I did not hit him on purpose. And the ball went right past his head, and he like sat there for a minute and looked up and saw that I had thrown the ball. And I said, the next time, if you ever fuck with this kid again, I'm breaking your nose with that basketball. And I could see the kid started like crying. He like had tears in his eyes because he was afraid. But I was freaking out because I was like, I'll fucking kill you if you fuck with my brother again. And then that was it. He never fucked with my brother again. I don't think I even ever saw him again.
So it's more like a revenge is more like a you do revenge for someone else is more sounds like a revenge. Huh?
In that case, yes, I got revenge for my brother because he was too small to get it for himself. Unless my brother, like, set a booby trap like some Home Alone shit on the basketball court and fucking threw firecrackers at his. I don't know what he could have done, but I just knew that I needed to defend my brother, and it was more like a revenge scenario. But then at the last, the whole time I was like stalking him. I was stalking him. I was thinking in my head, like, I'm going to break this kid's nose with my basketball. I'm going to break this kid's nose with my... I kept thinking that. And then finally at the last minute, I said, somehow I figured out in my head, like, what would be more scary is if he thinks I'm going to fuck him up and then I don't and I give him a warning. And then if he had said, all right, well, let's go, motherfucker, and then I would have had to fight him, that's more like fair and square. But if I just like sucker punched him or something, that's bullshit. I didn't want to like do what he did. I wanted to warn him against fucking with my brother. And he probably didn't even remember. Like, honestly, he probably didn't even remember that or maybe, who knows? I didn't even think of this. Maybe my brother was mistaken and it was the wrong. No, but I think it was because he was like a wise ass. I could tell he was like a dick. Like, and I know many years later I ran into that kid. He was like a fucking what's the word? Like a wannabe thug. Like one of those kids who thinks he's like, oh, I'm from fucking the Brooklyn or whatever. Dude, you're from fucking Long Island. Shut the fuck up. You're not a hard ass. Just because you listen to rap doesn't make you a fucking tough guy, you scum fuck. Anyway, that's my revenge story that I could remember.
Wow, that's like a real revenge then. Yeah, I mean, you just for your brother or friends, because they can't do it. But then, so sounds like a street gangs or those thugs. Okay, you did it to me. Then their team coming back and then do revenge. Then this side get more people and then went back. It's like it's like a gang war.
Well, that's funny.
Escalate.
That's funny you say that because in my town, I was in the same town. I wasn't involved in this at all. But my school, when I was in like middle school, I remember so specifically everybody in the school. This one kid got beat up by another group of kids from another school across town. Then that kid and his friends went and beat people up from that school. And each time it kept escalating, right? To the point where everybody in the 7th grade was like being recruited. They even came up to me and they're like, we're going to beat the shit out of the kids at OLV. And it was OLV. It was like a Catholic grammar school versus our public school. And it kept building to the point where, I'm not even joking, they scheduled a rumble with like 40 kids versus 40 kids. And the girl I was like dating at the time, who I called my girlfriend, was going. And I was like, don't go to that. Like, haven't you ever seen The Outsiders? What if they bring a knife? Haven't you ever seen West Side Story? Like, you might get So I actually called the police. And I said I was a snitch. But I also realized it was getting out of hand. Like, kids were getting hurt, this and that. I don't know if I was the only kid that called the police, but I fucking called up the police and I said, anonymously, today at this parking lot, all these kids are going to go fight each other. And it sounds really like bad. And then he's like, what's your name? I need to know your name. And I was like, John Brennan. Like, the cop over the phone scared me into, and then they said the cop showed up and stopped everybody from fighting. I don't know if I was responsible, maybe people from the surrounding stores or whatever. But yeah, there was a rumble.
Well, like a teenage kids, like one-on-one incident, becoming, group, and then escalate to the school against another school.
A whole grade, a 7th grade. I don't know if those kids were in 7th grade on the other school. I don't know. But I know it was like, and it was funny because the day of the fight, there were kids in school, in my school, who were putting like Vaseline on their face. And I asked them, I said, why are you putting Vaseline on your face? And they said, because if somebody hits you, it just slides right off. And then they were like, people going around and all the girls were like slicking their hair back and tying them in buns so their hair couldn't be pulled.
Oh.
And all the guys like ripped not all the guys, but some guys ripped the sleeves off their shirts so they couldn't have their sleeves taken. I was like, what is this, the fucking Warriors?
No, I mean, I wasn't involved directly, but that kind of stuff I was one experience, like when I was in high school, we did the field trip. And then, those time, every high school do the field trip around the same, it's like a field trip season.
Okay.
And then we meet, and then this like a big parking lot. But of course, every school goes, so old buses, right? Like a 50 passenger big, like a touring bus, like a 50 of them, 50 school.
Okay.
And then one school, one guy to another guy, somehow, start arguing and then get physical.
Right.
So two school became like a 50 school in the park. Like you said, it's like a big rumble.
Yeah.
That was my experience. I mean, I stayed in my car. I mean, bus. I didn't go there.
Right. I don't want to fight. I don't know what everybody's fighting for. I don't know who's right and who's wrong. What if the people I know were wrong? It's like the fuck.
But like a Western movie, like a bar fight, just you start hitting anybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, people just some people just like the adrenaline rush of beating the fuck out of another person, whether they're right or wrong, or it doesn't matter. It's crazy.
Crazy. So, I stayed in hiding from, just watching but couple buses knocked over. It was crazy. But
wait, what? Bus was knocked over?
Yeah.
How
because like all the students shaking the bus and boom. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Japan is nuts, Yuki. Does everybody in Japan know how to fight?
No, I don't think so. But have you seen the movie Battle Royale?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's that kind of stuff. Some schools are tough.
Sure.
My school was always beaten by some other school, but some school are well known as a bad school.
Yeah.
So when like all this big train station, you change the train, and when we see them, we just run away from them or hide from them. Otherwise, once they see you, hey, then they picked on you. You're dead.
Yeah. That same thing in my I won't say my town. Like my town, obviously that story is very extreme, but where I grew up was pretty safe. But in the surrounding areas, there were kids that were notorious for being like, what town are you from? You don't belong in our town, and then would just start fighting you for no reason back in the 90s. It was like, dude, it's not like the fucking Bronx, it's like this isn't like coveted territory. You have a pool hall and a sushi bar. Like, what the fuck are you fighting over? It's ridiculous. That's funny, Yuki. So we both had experiences where our schools basically, we're going to start a riot or a rumble.
But again, I was in the middle of it. I was outside and watching the rumble. That was only my involvement.
Same, but I went a step further because I was worried about the girl I was dating. It's like you send notes to each other like, ooh, that kind of stuff when you're in 7th grade. You don't do much, but yeah, I was like worried. Okay, here's another revenge story. I don't think I ever told you this. Maybe I did, but it's perfect for this episode because it is a revenge. I got revenge, okay? And I'm not going to say names, but this was a big deal. This was a big deal. This affected more people than I wanted it to. I wanted it to affect one person, and it ended up affecting hundreds of people through my revenge.
All right.
Okay, so I was in high school, probably senior year. And no, you know what it was? It was the summer of senior year going into my freshman year of college. And I hung out with people that were my age and a year younger and 2 years younger. So there was like a group of kids that were just all in the same group of friends through sports. We knew each other, whatever. So we were all similar ages, but some of them were still in high school. Some of them were whatever. My friend who was a year younger than me, who was remaining, this will come into play later why this matters. He was 11th grade going into senior year. I was senior going into freshman of college. And I threw a keg party over the summer to celebrate school's over. Everybody, come to my parents' house who were away for the weekend, obviously, idiots. And I threw a keg party. It was a big keg, like big, it was kind of almost like one of those keg parties you see in fucking movies. Like,
Okay, yeah. Now, when you say cake party, is that the size of the cake or how many cakes?
no, cake, Yuki. Wait a second. Not cake, not dessert, Yuki. Keg, Keg, like beer keg. A keg of beer.
A beer cake. Cake. Oh,
Everybody come over my house and
okay.
eat some cake. Oh, that's so cute, Yuki. We have to start cake parties. Oh my God.
Cake. Oh, the beer cake. Okay. I'm
You know what a
sorry.
keg? You know what a keg is? Like the big barrel of beer,
Yeah, the big barrel, the beer thing. Yeah.
iron or whatever. It's encased in metal. It's a metal thing, a keg of beer. Oh my God, I'm never gonna get over cake party. That's the fucking greatest thing I've ever heard. So, so I invite all these kids over for a beer keg party, and we're doing the beer, whatever. And my friend is like, "Hey man, can I take my girlfriend up to your room and fool around?" And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just don't do anything stupid." I'm like, "Whatever. I don't give a fuck." At that point, I probably, yeah, I didn't want anybody in my parents' room. No way. Fuck that shit. I made sure that was off limits. And I tried to make sure my brother's room was off limits, but I later found out that somebody went in there and he wasn't too happy about that because he was away with them. I tried. I mean, people respected my parents' room, but with my brother, they're like, "Fuck that shit. We're going in." And you're at the age where you like do the stupid stuff. So he went in, did his thing. After the party, the house wasn't that bad. It was like, okay, I was able to clean it up. And I only got caught later down the line because somebody saw me and my friend, this friend who went up to my room, driving down the street with a convertible. There was a convertible car that we had at the time. Not we didn't own it. It was like somebody that we knew who drove us to the keg. We had it in the back seat, and somebody saw it and told on us. But that's a whole other thing. Anyway, I get back to my room after like cleaning up the whole house, and it looks pretty good, and I still have a couple of days to clean. And on my bookshelf is a dirty condom, a used condom.
Oh shit! Ooh.
Yes, and that night I did not I don't remember why. I think my girlfriend lived like really far out on the island and she couldn't stay. It was a whole thing. But I was so mad because not only could I not have my girlfriend stay over, that there was a dirty fucking condom in my room that was not mine. And the only person that was in there, I knew who it was. So I said, I'm going to get my fucking revenge one day for that. Okay. Flash forward to about, not even days. It was months and months later when finally I'm in school, college. Okay.
Oh.
And my friend is still going to high school. And he's a senior. I'm a freshman in college. I was able to do my schedule for college where I only was going to school like 4 days a week and I would have 1 day a week off. I think it was a Friday. So on Fridays, I would be home and then I would go to work at 3. But from fucking the morning to 3 o'clock, I was at home alone. And he would come over at his lunch break and hang out, play video games, eat lunch, bullshit, whatever. So he came over and I said, today's the day. I'm getting revenge. So he was like busy playing Super Mario 2, whatever the fuck video game was going. So I went into my mother's stash of pads, like the pads that you use for like menstrual cycles, maxi pads, tampons, whatever the fuck it was. I got one. And while he was distracted, I covered it in barbecue sauce, ketchup, all kinds of condiments, and I put it inside of his school book. I hid it inside behind like a bunch of papers, okay? And then, no joke, Flash forward like 3 weeks after that, and he's like, dude, you have no fucking clue what I just went through today. I was like, what? What's going on? He's like, somebody slipped a dirty tampon into my school book, and I threw it out in the garbage in home economics class. Somebody found it, and the whole class got in trouble because nobody would tell who threw out the dirty tampon.
Oh.
But I immediately fucking said, dude, that was me. I was like, you haven't looked in your school books for 3 weeks, to the point where 3 weeks later, dude, I did this 3 weeks ago. I fucking put on barbecue sauce on a fucking dirty tampon, and I fucked to get back at you for the dirty condom as a joke. But you're so fucking, you don't look at your schoolwork. So 3 weeks later, he threw it out, and the whole class got in trouble. Nobody was allowed to speak the rest of the year until somebody came forward and told who did it. The whole class was fucking, they would go into home economics class, sit down, sit in silence. The teacher would say, all right, here's your chance every day for months. Here's your chance to come forward, whoever did it, and we'll resume teaching. We'll resume. Nobody fucking came forward. And years later, I was responsible.
Yeah, but you weren't in that class, right? So nobody...
I was in college. I wasn't even in that school. I was fucking in the great maxi pad mystery of the 1998.
Then nobody knew it was a sauce. Everybody thought that was the real thing.
Everybody except my friend, who I finally told, yeah, that's a fucking, I did that. I made a joke. I put on barbecue sauce and ketchup and shit. Everybody thought it was real forever, to the point where just a couple of years ago, I told one other person who was in that class, and their mind was blown. They were like, I can't believe that was you, because we had the worst year ever. And I was like, dude, I wasn't coming forward. I wasn't going to sell my friend. I mean, I did it as fucking funny. I thought it was going to be a funny revenge. I didn't think it was going to be a fucking months of torture.
His mistake was he didn't open the book for 3 weeks. He should stop if he's a high school kid.
He should study. I mean, but who really like opens up the book that they're doing home economics in, you know? Like, what the fuck? A recipe? What do you need? Chicken barbecue sauce? Barbecue sauce. That would have been apropos for a home ec.
But I mean, 3 weeks. I mean, didn't he have that subject not even one time? I mean,
in all fairness, in high school, you get so much work and stuff, or spreadsheets, and you have like folders, and it was a folder, or no, you know what it was? It was a binder that had folders and shit. You know how you have those binders that clips and you could put different notebooks and stuff? So he had a whole, it was a thick thing full of papers and shit, and I slipped it behind papers.
Oh, you hit the book. You couldn't close all the way.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a book. I should have put that detail in. It was a binder full of folders, notebooks, papers, all shoved with like probably almost every subject he had it that year. So I'm sure he was like going through looking for some homework or something, and it fell out. It's the dirty tampon.
That's funny.
Dude, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And then one time, I knew this might get me in trouble if anybody ever hears this, but nobody's going to hear this. Who gives a fuck? At least nobody I know from my hometown. Or maybe it will, and it'll be funny that they find out this way. I know the teacher who taught that class. I know their offspring for a certain reason. I won't say what reason, but years later, I was involved, and I was at like a party, it was a party for some sort of a special occasion. They were there, and I was so tempted to go and tell the teacher, hey, remember 1998 when that whole tampon thing went on? That was me, actually. Remember? And then my friend talked me out of it. It was like, do not say it. It'll ruin the whole night. Like, and I was like, you're right. I'm just gonna keep that to my grave. In terms of her, like she doesn't need to know that it was me.
If you told it, the whole class might get revenge to you then. I mean,
that's true, Yuki. Karma or revenge. Yeah, they might come and fucking fuck with me in some way.
Revenge. And then the whole class. So I don't think it's funny. And then you have no chance to survive, maybe. Too many.
That's true, Yuki. I might have no chance of revenge. Or no chance to defend myself if they came for revenge. You're right. That's too many people. So I do apologize to everybody. My intention was not to ruin hundreds of people, because I'm sure that ruined hundreds of people only because like the parents had to be involved, the other teachers had to be involved, all the kids in the school had to hear about it. That affected a lot of people.
But I think 50% is his fault.
He left a dirty condom on my bookshelf.
Yeah. And then if he found it, the fake tampon in his room, then he could get rid of it before he goes to school.
Right, because the way he described it, he was like, he saw it and he threw it because he was like, what the fuck? Like, because it looked real. I was very good. I made it look really good. And he threw it and it was on the floor. And then nobody saw it. So he snuck over and put it in a garbage pail. But then somebody saw it and was like, who did that? That's disgusting. And then it just ballooned out from there.
If I need a fake tampon as a prop next time, I'm gonna hire you.
Yeah, dude, I know how to do it. And I did it really good. I did the spot. First, I did the brown spots. And then I did a little massage of the ketchup so it looked like streaks. Oh, I did a fucking perfect job.
How did you know how to do it? Have you seen it?
It took a wild guess. I figured. I heard the term spotting. I heard the term heavy flow day. I absorb these things like a tampon. Yeah, any special effects artists, if you ever need a dirty tampon for a movie, barbecue sauce and ketchup, and maybe a little hot sauce too. So you have the 3 different colors. Well, anyway, that was Revenge by Yuki and John.
That was fun.
Yeah, Yuki, that's something else. So, all right. Well, we just want to thank everybody for joining us on this wild adventure of revenge. And Yuki,
you get revenge from John. So
yeah, if you ever find a dirty tampon, in your house or in your belongings, it might have been me. All right, so we'll see you next time at the
buffet.
The Revenge Buffet, Yuki. Revenge is a dish best served with a dirty tampon.
Yuki and John, entry on the bay.